my name is Juan Cangas, and I'm a cool speaker, and I'm coming to you all the way from the great state of Nebraska. Now you're probably thinking two things. One is, where is that at? And number two is, there's Latinos in Nebraska? Yes, there's a lot of us here. But I'm not originally from here. I was originally born in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua. And when I was 5 years old, my parents wanted a better life for me. They found out of this place in Nebraska where they could work, these meatpacking plants, and they immigrated all the way to this foreign place that nobody had ever seen before in my family. And they started working there. And they started working at a job that is hard manual labor, and they didn't really like it, but they did it for a better future for myself and for my siblings, right? And they did it really for me to get an opportunity to get a career. So they worked in a job so that I could find a career. And that's what I'm here for you all to talk about today, is what's the difference between a job versus a career, because many of you may think you know and that you're on the path to get there, but I want you to avoid some of the pitfalls that I had to go through to find the fulfilling career for myself. See, when I was in high school, if you would have asked me the question, what does it mean for you to be successful? I would have told you one answer: get to college. Because I was so focused in high school on how to get to college that I didn't prepare properly about what was after college or what kind of career I wanted to do after college. So I was just so focused on being the first person in my family to get to college, which is a good thing, but you also have to focus, as you'll find out later, how to find a fulfilling career. I ended up getting to college, and I remember the first week I was walking around and I met with my advisor, and they asked me the question that I was not prepared for: now what? Right? What do you want to study now? What is it that you want to do after college? And it really took me a while to start thinking about it, because I hadn't really thought about it throughout high school. It was like, what kind of career? I had some ideas, but I hadn't really done the research. I really hadn't tasted any different careers, right? I just had these ideas of what I wanted to do. And I came to my senior year on my third major, and about 3 months before I was going to graduate, I realized that I actually didn't want to do the thing I was thinking about doing. I was thinking about going to law school and being a lawyer, but I realized actually I don't really want to do that. You know, I had an experience with an internship that had to deal with the law, and I realized I actually didn't like it.
Well, it was a good epiphany to have, just the wrong timing.
I remember the time I was working for Coca-Cola as an internship, and I go to my boss's office, and I'm kind of bummed, and he notices, and he's like, "Hey man, what's wrong?" I said, "Man, I'm about to graduate college, and I feel like a failure because I'm not going to have a job." And he says, "Well, hey, we got a job here for you, right? You could work here in Coca-Cola. You've been an employee here, working part-time. Here's a sales position you could do." And then here's the most important thing. He showed me how much money I'd be making. And I looked at that number and I was like, ooh, that looks good. And so, because I didn't have any other options, right? I didn't want to be jobless after college. I accepted it, thinking, you know what? I'm making more money than my parents made when I was growing up. I graduated college. This is it. I'm living the American dream. And so I ended up graduating, and to most people, if they would look at my life from the outside in, they would say, "Man, your life is successful. Juan, you have, you graduated from college, you're working for a Fortune 500 company, really stable, good company, and you're getting paid pretty good money, and you have really good benefits. That's it. You've made it, Juan." That's how it looked and appeared on the outside. But I'll tell you the truth. 6 months into the job, I noticed I would come home and I'd feel depressed. I feel drained. And not just physically, like emotionally drained. I don't know if you've ever been there. And I started to ask myself some questions like, man, why am I feeling this way? Like, I have everything I thought I wanted to be successful, and yet I don't feel successful. And once I started, I think it's so important that you really question yourself, and that you really are thorough and think through things, even when you're processing feelings, that you think through those feelings, right? Don't just accept them, because usually feelings or gut feelings are trying to show you something. They're trying to expose an area of your life that needs to be corrected. And so in that moment, I started thinking and processing, and I realized why I was feeling this way. I was feeling this way because even though I'd gone to college and had a good paying job, that's what it was. It was a job for me. I wasn't doing it because I enjoyed it. I wasn't doing it because it was highlighting my strengths and my skills. I was just doing it because it was a paycheck. Now, it was a big paycheck, but regardless, even if you get paid a lot of money, if you don't enjoy the work that you're doing, it will be a job no matter how much money you make. And I realized in that moment that I didn't want to stay in this place. I didn't want to just keep on working in this job, even if I was getting paid some good money. I wanted something more. And it really led me after college on this journey of figuring out, how do I find a career that's fulfilling? Now, that's the key word, because that's the difference between a job and a career. A job is some work you do just with the primary focus of getting paid, of getting money. That's the primary focus. Now, a career, you're also, right, one of the focuses is to get paid. You need to get money. However, the primary focus is that you're utilizing your strengths and your skills, and it's a fulfilling feeling, right? You're happy about it. And really, I think there's 3 different things you have to consider as you're exploring these careers in the future that are going to be fulfilling for you. Number 1 is you got to discover. You got to go inside first before you go outside and try to find careers. And you got to ask yourself a few questions. One is, what are my strengths? What am I good at? See, one of my strengths is I'm a storyteller. I love hearing a good story, and I love telling a good story. I feel like stories are some of the most powerful things in this world, because once you have a story, not only do you remember it, but sometimes it gives you strength. And that's something I've had even before college, right? I loved hearing good stories and sharing good stories. Well, that strength has helped me as a professional speaker and facilitator, because I tell stories all the time that engage people. Just as I told the story of how I went to college with you earlier on, and how I, eventually was dissatisfied in a job. You got to figure out what are your strengths, and one good way to do that, some of you are just introspective and you're very self-aware and you know what your strengths are. Some of you are like very lost. You're like, I have no idea what my strengths are. What I would recommend is you take some kind of self-assessment. Right here, I'm going to put a link to a self-assessment you could take. It's completely free. It is called the High 5 Test. Takes you about 20 minutes, has you answer some questions, and it'll tell you your some top 5 strengths that you have. And it's important that you figure what those are, because certain strengths fit best with certain careers. So that's number 1. You got to discover those things about yourself that you value and the most important, and what are your strengths that you bring to a career. Number 2, you got to explore. You got to go out there and taste. When I sit with young people and I ask them, hey, what are you interested in? They'll usually tell me some ideas that they have. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. And then here's the next question I ask them. How do you know? How do you know? How do you know that that's the career that's right for you? And if they tell me, well, I just know because I've seen it on TV, then I know they have no clue whether they really want to do that. Because the only way you will know if that's the career that really highlights your strengths and utilizes some of your skills is if you taste it. It's kind of like if I asked you, hey, do you like do you like tamales, or do you like flautas? Do you like tacos? If I asked you to think about a food, the only way you would know if you really like that food is not if you've seen it on TV or seen a picture of it or seen somebody else eat it, right? It's if you yourself tasted it. You would be able to tell me, I tasted it. I knew I don't like it or I do like it. And that's what you have to do for careers. You have to. You got to go out and explore careers. And the best way to do that is to get into internship opportunities. And that's where you're actually doing the work of that career as you're learning if it's really right for you. There are so many careers out there, and there are new ones starting up every day, especially with the increase of technology. And so there are careers that are going to be here in 5 years that you haven't even heard of, that haven't even been discovered yet. But there are some careers that I want to highlight right now that are in the STEM field, because that's the fastest growing field of jobs right now that might catch your interest. One STEM career there is currently is software developer. Now, these are the people that are in charge of developing code and software for everything that's technology based. So anytime you open an application on your phone like Facebook or Instagram, a software developer had a hand in making that. The way you're looking at me right now on video, someone had to develop the software of how to capture this video and then being able to put it together, right? Like iMovie. So let's say you love healthcare. You want to be in healthcare, but maybe you don't want to go out and become a doctor because you don't want all that schooling, but you still want to be around doctors and nurses. Well, there is a position in the STEM field called the Medical and Health Services Manager. Now, what does this person do? Well, You've gone to a clinic, you've gone to a hospital. The doctors are interacting with the patients, but who's taking care of the hospital as a whole? Who's making sure that the doctors are getting paid, that all the materials are getting ordered for that hospital, that everything is being managed and coordinated in that hospital? Well, that's what the medical and health services manager does. They manage clinics and hospitals and make sure that it's running smoothly. Lastly, you need to build. What do I mean by that? You need to build the knowledge and the skills that are most important in that career path. And you need to go find out what that is. Right now, if you tell me, hey, I'm interested in this career, but you don't know what the top 3 pieces of information that you need to be knowledgeable on in that career path, or the top 3 skills that you need to be an excellent worker in that career path, then you don't really know that career path. So I would the best way you gain this is through speaking to people that are in that field, and they can tell you, hey, these are the top 3 things you need to be really knowledgeable about to be successful in this career, and these are the top 3 skills that you need to have. Now, there's many more of the skills, but usually in a career, there's like some highlighted things that you really need to know. We're so good about preaching and telling people that they need to get to college, which is absolutely important. You need to get to college. That sometimes we miss the mark on highlighting the importance of preparing for a fulfilling career. And most people don't teach you this. Most people don't tell you, hey, you need to be working just as hard to find a career that's fulfilling for you as going to college. They're hand in hand. Because college is only really a preparation to become a better thinker, but even more to find a career, to prepare you with the knowledge and the skills for that fulfilling career. So keep that aim right in mind. As you're going to college, realize that college is a step to get to that future career. If you keep that in mind and that conviction to find the career that you want to find, not only will you find it, but you'll be fulfilled in it.